My name is Kinsel. I make pretty pictures and other objects d'art. My birthday is 9/11. I was born in the great year of 1984, the same year that Michael Jordan and Mario Lemieux were drafted from the Hill District. I'm from Pittsburgh. I have a beard. That's it. My favorite type of music is hip-hop. I'm a child of hip-hop culture and of the hip-hop generation, so I listen to mostly rap or hip-hop, but I enjoy other types of music as well. But for the most part, I listen to rap music or hip-hop. Favorite hip-hop artist is Jay-Z. I just really enjoy what he delivers lyrically. But I mean, you had a couple favorites. Like my favorite classical artist is Tchaikovsky. Like, you know, favorites across the board. But yeah, favorite of my favorite is Jay-Z. I don't play any instruments well. I recently purchased a mandolin for like $6, and I play that sometimes when I'm like just want to have fun. But I'm not like trained in any musical instruments. I play my voice, like that's it. And I'm not a good singer either, so. I do. I'm not really big on film or movies, but I have a great appreciation. I like documentaries. Documentaries are more entertaining for me. Downtown 81 stars Basquiat, art scene in the 80s in New York. Killer of Sheep. You ever heard of that? You should look it up. It's like a historical film too. Like if you're into film and stuff, you should look it up. Interesting look into like black culture on the West Coast. James and the Giant Peach is a good movie. It's a favorite of mine. Nightmare Before Christmas. I think I'm more a Tim Burton fan as opposed to animation. Yeah, I like the work of Tim Burton. Cabin Boy too. That shit's funny as hell. I impersonated Oprah the other day. When I sing karaoke, I do Rick James, and it's kind of like a Rick James impersonation. Or Prince. I do Prince and Rick James during karaoke, so that's kind of like an impersonation. But that's like in the moment. But I definitely did an Oprah impersonation the other day. Like, you kind of admire the success of people, but I don't think I necessarily like have a favorite famous person. Like, I'm not really caught up into popular culture in that respect. Like, who's your favorite person? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of famous people. I'm a fan of David Hammons. I thought August Wilson was pretty cool from what I've found out. I'd be interested in meeting Basquiat. Jean-Michel Basquiat, who was an artist in the 80s. Bayard Rustin. I recently read a book about a gentleman named Bayard Rustin. He was a civil rights person of influence. Yeah, he was just like an ill person of influence. I was kind of blown away. I read kind of a biography about him within the past like 6 months. So yeah, Bayard Rustin. I was really impressed by that person. He's like a historical figure. But yeah, it was pretty fucking cool. It's inspiring. Like, you see people, they may not necessarily be famous. That's why, I called that Bayard Rustin a person of influence. You see someone who's like a leader or someone who's like a shining star in popular culture, but how many people are behind them working? There's probably like a lot more people. There's probably a lot of people working potentially way harder than that person who's like in front of everything. So, it's just interesting to try to find out who's behind the scenes of things or who's a person of influence to a leader. Because if a leader goes to someone, then, and Bayard Rustin, he like influenced the whole civil rights movement. He was like a big influence on Martin Luther King. Like, man, Martin Luther King Day's coming up too, But Martin Luther King, whenever he needed advice, or when he wanted to know what to do next to lead all these people behind him, He went to Barrett Ruster. Like, who gives a fuck if people heard of you? Like, that's my thing. Like, who gives a fuck if people heard of you? If you have power, you have power. If you have influence, you have influence. I mean, that's exactly why I'd rather watch a documentary to know what has happened before me, as opposed to, like, what the fuck they got robots fighting on TV. Like, who gives a fuck about that? I mean, it's still entertainment. Ultimately, you have to figure out where you want your entertainment and where you want your education. Too many times people want to blend those two. And it's good sometimes to blend the two, but a lot of times those things need to stay separate. I've tried to. Favorite books is Stand by Stephen King. That's probably my favorite book. The Invisible Man. The Hobbit. That was like one of the first books I read on my own. Back in the day, The Hobbit is one of my favorite books. I recently finished up La Boheme. That Randy Pausch book was not as good as I thought it was going to be. I just want to say that on camera. I know somebody will probably be really mad. It was good. It wasn't as good as people were making it seem. Oh, Plato, The Republic. Definitely has to go in the top 5 books. That's like one of my favorite books. The Republic. I do a lot of my reading as far as like magazines and such online now, but I try to always have a novel. The Great Gatsby, it's one of my favorites. I'm using newspaper and a piece of art that I'm doing, so I've been reading a lot of newspaper and then just using it. I am doing a chair for a fundraiser, a nonprofit fundraiser. This nonprofit gives artists like chairs. It's called a charity. It's like funny. But they give artists chairs and other like small furniture pieces, and the artist does something on it. So I'm using newspaper this year. Last year I did like wax and different colors. And it sold. It was able to help the nonprofit raise some cheese, some money. So that's always a good feeling when you make art for a good cause, and then someone actually says, "I like this art, and I like this cause, and I'm going to actually spend money." What I created helped, even just a little bit. I have a tattoo. It's on my chest. It's all over my heart. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you though. I'll tell you after the camera's off. Oh, what were those? I would name it after those koalas that were on that cartoon show back in the day. I think it was called the Noozles. Came on Nickelodeon. I would Google search that and then name my koala after that. It was, I swear, it was a pink koala. Australian. Of course. Well, you know what? No, that's not right. The koala would have the accent wherever it was born and like raised and learned how to speak. So if I got my koala from Australia after it had grew up, then it would have an Australian accent. But you know, if it grew up here in America, it would just have a regular American accent. It would have a Yinzer accent. Hopefully, eventually my koala would have a Yinzer accent. I'd be painting all day. I'd just be making artwork. I would just be painting. Like if nothing could stop me and it was, I didn't need any like additional resources, or yeah, I would just be creating new work. Constantly creating new work. I like to see a pretty woman, nature, and the rest of my life. A satisfied woman, nature, and the rest of my life. Chocolate cake, peppermint tea, and good hygiene. Good hygiene is a great smell. That's definitely in my top 3. I like eating like chocolate cupcakes and like apple pie together. That's pretty tasty. And like a little bit of ice cream. Like a chocolate cupcake, a small amount of apple pie or cobbler, and like some ice cream. That's pretty damn good. Some like really good collard greens. Good greens are good. Like something that somebody else cooked for you, like with love and care. Yeah, whoever it may be. Like if that person cooked it for me and like with care and with like some feeling behind it, then it's definitely a top three banger every time. Tasty. Top three tasty banger. My paintings have great texture. Someone put that in there. One of my paintings, cashmere. I really like cashmere. The feel of cashmere, that's that shit. Like a really good pillow. No, I'm not letting you into my brain for that one. I mean, I believe that's a hard question because I don't judge a book by its cover. You know, so like if someone tells me, "Hey, I do this," I'm not surprised. It's just something new that I learned about that person. Yeah, so I don't even look. I feel like I don't even view things like that. Like, oh, I'm surprised you went skydiving, or you did this, or you did that. Like, I don't really interpret people like that. I don't judge people. Like, you'll never know what someone may or may not have experienced. So, like, if someone has a skill or a talent, they're just waiting to unveil it. And, like, when they do, it's not surprising. It's just like, oh, all right. Yeah, so I can't really think of anything because, like, I'm like, yeah, I did that. Or I do that. You know, it's not, I don't think it would be, I'm trying to think, like, would it be a shocker to someone? I'm a big Nirvana fan. Bucky Lasek is my favorite skateboarder. I have a favorite skateboarder. I've always have. So like, yeah, Bucky Lasek is my favorite skateboarder. Like that's probably something you're like, well, I've taken ballet as an adult. Yeah, it was just temporary. Like I got offered free classes, and I was like, yeah, it helped me a lot in basketball. I played basketball like leisurely. Yeah, I took ballet. That's probably a surprise. You know what? I think the fact that I paint like flowers, you know, I think that surprises people a lot. Like when people see my artwork and then meet me, they usually don't connect the two. My favorite color is neon gray because I don't think I've ever seen it because it's not silver. It's neon gray. Terribly and horribly. There's an Edgar Allan Poe story. Edgar Allan Poe is one of my favorite people. There's a Poe story about the end of the world. It's a conversation between Eros and Charmios, I think. But yeah, terribly. That's how the world is going to end. Fucking in a horrible way. Be yourself. No matter the consequences. Random experiences and exchanges. It's kind of what like I enjoy about life. The opportunity to just experience things that are unplanned. And those things usually turn out to be positive for me. So that's definitely what I would miss. But you can't miss anything if you're dead because you're dead. I would miss everything. There's nothing that I would not miss if this was all gone. Ask me again. My favorite type of wood is the wood that Paul Bunyan chopped because he was an awesome person and a great lumberjack. Is Paul Bunyan a historical figure? Is he a historical figure? I know he's not real, but is he a historical figure? No, he wouldn't be. American myth? A fable? Is he like fable. American fable? Is he an icon? He's definitely an icon. Paul Bunyan is an icon. Follow me on Twitter at @DSKinsel. I'm a visual artist. I'm an installation artist. I do window displays. I paint pretty pictures, usually of flowers. I like fashion. I'm from Pittsburgh. It's one of the best cities. I have a biased opinion though. My friends are cool and probably cooler than yours or you. I like to party. It's probably gonna be a long time before I cut my beard. I'm sneakily good at basketball. Someone's tweeting me right now.